Okay, guys, so yesterday we just looked at a table and determined if it was linear, exponential, or quadratic. Today we're going to do that again, but then also write the equation to fit the data. So let's go over what our equations are for these three types of graphs. So if it's a linear function, then when you write the equation for the table, it should be in the form y equals mx plus b. And we've done this before, so this should be easy. If you find that it's an exponential pattern, the equation for an exponential function is y equals a times b to the x power. And we've done this before, so that should be easy. Quadratic functions are the hard ones, so we're going to skip that today, and we will spend a whole day on that alone tomorrow. So we're going to skip that one. So today is just review, linear and exponential. All right, so number one, it says verify that it's linear. Okay, so let's just make sure. Is this graph linear? So let's check our first differences in the y's. So to get from y to y, we have to make sure that we're either adding or subtracting a constant amount. And I think we are. I think it's adding 2, right? Adding 2 every time. Adding 2 every time. Awesome. Okay, so now we have to write the model. So it's y equals mx plus b. So let's do like a little review here. M is the slope. So the slope is the change in y over the change in x. So we should also probably find the change in x. It looks like these are all going up by 1. So plus 1 plus 1. Okay. So if you divide change in y by change in x, what's 2 divided by 1? Slope is 2. All right, so just off to the side, I'm going to write slope is 2. And then b is the y-intercept, and the y-intercept is when x is 0. So if you go down and find x equals 0, the y-buddy is the y-intercept b. So it looks like our y-intercept is 1. All right, so b is going to be 1. All right, that's all we need. Plug in M, plug in B, and we have just found the equation for that table. So final answer, y equals 2x plus 1. I just plugged in 2 for M and 1 for B. All right, why don't you guys try number 2? So pause the video and try it, and then I'm going to go over it. So to get from y to y, it looks like we are subtracting 2 this time. Minus 2, minus 2, minus 2. All right, so that means it's linear. So we're going to plug in y equals mx plus b. Okay, the m is the slope, so change in y over change in x. So it looks like the change in x is plus 1 again. Plus 1, plus 1, dot, dot, dot. Okay, so slope is y over x, so negative 2. That's going to be m. I mean, you guys could put negative 2 over 1 if you want. Doesn't matter. And then the b is the y-intercept. So when x is 0, y is negative 1. So that's going to be plugged in for b. All right, let's plug it all in and get our final answer. Y equals negative 2x minus 1 with the m and the b plugged in. All right, awesome. Now let's just do 1 or 2 exponentials. All right, so number 3. It says verify that it's exponential and then write the equation. So first we got to see, how are we getting from y to y? So you might have to do a little bit of work here. I think we're multiplying by 2. Do you guys agree? Every y, if you multiply it by 2, you get to the next one. So that's a sign of exponential. Okay, so the exponential model is y equals a times b to the x power. All right, let's remind ourselves what these are. A is the y-intercept. So a is the starting value, 0, 1. So a is 1. And then b is the rate that you're multiplying by. So since we're multiplying by 2, that's going to be b. All right, so put it all together. Y equals 1 times 2 to the x power. All right, you guys pause the video and try number 4. And when you're ready, replay it and I will be going over it. So number 4, how do we get from y to y? Uh-oh, these are getting smaller. And I think it looks like we're dividing. Dividing by 2, dividing by 2, dividing by 2, right? Each time? Okay, so multiplying and dividing is a sign of exponential. So it's y equals a times b to the x power. Okay, a again is the starting point. So 0, 1. So a is 1. B is what are you multiplying by every time? But remember, guys, we did this before. If you're dividing by 2, what are you multiplying by? Remember we turned it into a fraction and it's 1/2. So anytime you're dividing, you just write it as a fraction 1 over that number. Okay, you can't see that, can you? 1/2. So B is 1/2. Okay, final answer. Plug everything in. Y equals 1 times 1/2 to the x power. And that is your model. Awesome, guys. We are done. See you tomorrow.